Oh, yeah. Welcome, everybody. Alexander Mazzone here from Galactic Tarot. This is the all-new show. Oh my God, I guess it's all mug up in there. You just got mugged. I'm sorry. This is the all-new show. Calling it the Lucid Cupid. That name has been in the works for about 12 years now. At least 10. At least 10. That was actually going to be the original name of Galactic Tarot when I started all this. Owen, my brother. What's up, Angela? So I'm so excited about this. Like I was just saying, this has been. Sorry about that. That mug is going to keep creeping in every time I take a sip of coffee. It's just like dun 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 dun. Oh, sorry about that. He gets distracted. Let's be honest. All right. Oh, look at this. What is this? Does this guy got a brush? What is all that? Anyway, so yeah, this show has been in the works for many, many years, and this is one of my biggest passions: is dream state interpretation, just lucidity in your daily lives. So I'm so excited about this. I got an overwhelming response from you guys. Everybody seemed very excited about this, that's heard about this so far. And I had quite a few emails to read through. So there will be notes in the comments on where to send over your dream state interpretations for next month. We're gonna be doing this every month. So just so you guys know, yeah, really excited about this. And I already said that, but he's so excited. So yeah, without further ado, I'm going to start getting into it. But yeah, check out the notes for how to send in your dream for a chance to get them interpreted. I picked 3, okay? So I'm going to get to those 3. And then a couple of them actually had to do with other people's dreams. There was kind of a theme for some of the stuff. So I just wanted to make sense out of that for you guys. But first, I just wanted to give a little bit of backstory. So basically, my whole journey started through this. My whole journey started through dream state interpretation. I was with an ex all the way back in the year of 2000, showing his age here, okay? And I woke up. I don't remember that dream because it wasn't important to me then, but I woke up from a dream. And I looked at her and I said, "Oh my God, I just had the weirdest dream." Actually, I called her. So I call her and I'm like, "Oh my God, I just had the weirdest dream." She's like, "Oh, well, what happened? I'll look it up in my book." And I was like, "What do you mean you'll look it up in your book?" She goes, "I got a book. You look up what the dream says and it gives you an interpretation of what's going to happen." So I'm just like, "Yeah, okay, whatever, lady." Because this is literally, it's the year 2000, okay? So my whole awakening journey started happening 2001. Even though I didn't realize I was awake. I didn't realize I was awake because, being brought up Roman Catholic, there's a lot of dream state interpretation in the Bible. So like you hear the story in the Bible about like the 8 cows. It was either 7 or 8 cows. And the moral of the story is most of the cows, like 7 in a row or 6 in a row, were like big and fat and like healthy. And then the last cow was really skinny. So the guy goes to see a seer, which is really funny because like all the stuff we do and the stuff we talk about in spirituality, like there's certain things in the Catholic and the Christian faith that they say not to, and I'm not trying to rustle any tail feathers, or any feathers at all. But they'll say, "Oh, don't go see a psychic. You're not supposed to do this. You're not supposed to do that." But you look in the Bible over and over again, you see this word seer. But moral of the story is that there were these cows. He goes to see the seer, and the guy tells him, "Okay, you save a little bit of grains, a little bit of food, a little bit of stuff from each of these 7 years because there's going to be a drought or a famine in this last year, and you can save everybody by properly preparing for this." So he does this, and he's the savior. Like he has a dream. The dream predicts the future. So when this started to happen, I thought it was weird, and then I didn't think it was weird. So basically, things happen, life happens. I was a young kid. We ended up parting ways. Okay. So I have this crazy freaking dream that is still so lucid to me to this day. And basically, what happened in the dream is I'm walking down this alley. It was a very long dream. I'm just going to cut to the gist of why, like, all this path started back in 2001. So 2001, I'm walking down this alleyway. On one side, it's like a fence, like a traditional wooden fence, like what you'd picture in somebody's backyard. And there's a fence on one side and there's a building on the right. So there's a brick wall and a wooden fence. And along the wooden fence was these oil drums. And at the end of the alley is a grill. And the grill, all this black smoke is coming off of the grill. And I look down the alley, and there's nothing there but the smoke and grill. So I start walking, and there's these oil drums, and each of the oil drums is filled with dead seagulls, except for one. I know this is like he's talking about dead birds. So this is all going to come full circle, I promise. So each of the drums is filled with dead seagulls, except for one. One of them is entirely empty. And I go and look over the fence, and it's like the ocean is like crashing into a stone wall, and there's like tires and boots and like just all this garbage in the water. I come down from the fence, I look back down the alley, and there's just the most beautiful little like Asian boy, like a baby. And he looks up at me and he puts both of his hands, boom, on the grill, and like where it's like hot. And like I run over him, he's crying. I get his hands and I put them on my ears. I don't know if you guys know this trick, but if you're a cook like I am, not to be an Italian stereotype, but if you're a cook like I am, say you touch I've touched a pan, and like you can get like a pan that would give somebody, I won't say you, we gotta get that out of our language. Sometimes we're talking to people and we say you when, you're kind of like projecting that upon people. So to say it the proper way, to cast the spell eloquently, 5D eloquently or higher, if someone were to burn their hand, and it would have been a third-degree burn, your ear is made up of cartilage, okay? And cartilage absorbs heat. So what people go to do is like they get something really, really hot, so then they go put it under cold water. And what's happening with the cold water is it's actually forcing the heat back into the skin. But if you use your ear, like so you go boom, 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 you keep finding a spot that feels cold and then like move it around. I've actually avoided up to third-degree burns by doing this. So that's why I put his hands on my ears. I was trying to prevent him from, oh, and I'm upside down. Okay. So I just got completely cut off. No, it's not just you. We're back. Okay, we're back. We lost some people, but yeah, the stream got cut off. A lot of mug again. A lot of mug. Take some coffee. Yeah, I guess now I'm being bothered on YouTube. This has been a journey, guys. Me just getting truth to you, me getting stories to you, and I'm not going to give up. Okay, I'm gonna keep doing this by any means necessary. So as things shift, though, the information will come from different places. So, anyways, I guess you can't teach people how to avoid themselves from being burned. Okay. So, anyways, what I was saying was, touching your ear in a different place. I promise you this works. So it's a good habit to create, and it has to be right away. Like if there's like even a 5-second delay, it's not going to work. But if you touch it and you're like, oh my God, that's going to bubble, boom, 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 boom. Anyways, that's what I was getting at. So I wake up, and I only saw my Nana probably about 4 times a year because she lived kind of further away. And I go downstairs and she's there, and she can tell I'm like really out of it. And she's like, what's going on, honey? And I'm like, oh no, I just had this dream. There's this book, but I can't call the person that has the book. And like, when you're just waking up and you're kind of out of it, or at least I do. So I basically, she just like whips out a $20 bill. She's like, well, go buy the book. And I'm like, well, duh. Okay. So I go buy the book, and mind you, this is a great book. But there are some very negative connotations in there. What I would prefer for everybody is you come up with your own, or like the things that are like the most symbolic or make the most sense pretty much for you. So I go and buy the book. All right, this is so much information here. This is why this is going to be a show that has to happen every month. So I go and buy the book, and I don't even get out of the store. I literally am just in the store, and I crack it open to Seagull, because that was the part that really was sticking with me. And I open it up to Seagull, and there's only one blurb. And this book is called 10,000 Dreams Interpreted, if you ever wanted to check it out. It's got like a picture of a door on it open. There's like a cloud coming through the door, I believe. Um, so I look, and it says Seagull. And then I read it, and there's only one passage, and it says, to see a dead seagull. It literally says to see a dead seagull. It doesn't say one about one being alive, to see one eating, to see one flying, things that would make sense. It sees what I saw in my dream. It says, to see a dead seagull represents wide separation of friends. So I'm like, oh my God. I was like, 4 drums, one's empty. I have 4 really, really good friends I consider my best friends. Does this book basically tell me that I'm going to have 3 of my best friends not be my friend whatsoever soon? And this really bothered me. So, and this is 2001 on the East Coast, like a bunch of like Guineas and Portuguese. Like it wasn't common. Like nowadays, it's common for a dude to call another dude and tell him they love him. Back then, it wasn't whatsoever. But I called all 4 of these guys, and I call every single one of them. I go, all right, here's the deal. I had this dream. There's this book that predicts the future. Like I literally tell these guys this. They think I'm nutso. And they're like, no, everything's good. This is really weird, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, all right, well, I just wanted to make sure we were good. And, we're going to still be friends soon because I love you, man. And they're like, all right, bro. Like nobody said I love you back because it's 2001. But you could see the precursors of, who Alexander was, blossoming into. So a week and a half later, I end up on the phone with the empty oil drum. The first person I called, the person that it was the most important for them to still be my friend, who still is my best friend to this day. Actually, funny side story. I found out when I was 30 that he was there at the exact moment of my birth. This is the weirdest thing ever. Like, how do you know you're like, soul family or like destined to be best friends? I swear to God, this is a true story. So I met this guy. I met my best friend before I met my own sisters, my 2 older sisters. So my dad worked for his dad, and my dad was like, I gotta go. My wife's giving birth. So he like runs out of work. So his dad, being the good, employer, is like, I just have my newborn baby. I'm gonna grab my wife. I'm gonna go by the hospital and go see my worker. So he comes by, my best friend, in a baby basket, puts it on the bed, on the corner of the bed. So my best friend was like at my mother's feet, like sitting there in a baby basket exactly at the time of my birth. And it's so funny. My mom is so casual. She's she's sitting there like cooking for me and it's my friend Dan. She's sitting there cooking for me and Dan one day, and she's like, oh, I never told you Dan was there when you were born, and just keeps doing her thing. And I'm like, Mom, these are the things that my soul craves. Like, no, you never told me that. So that, yeah, just a little comical side thing. So anyways, I end up telling Dan, so-and-so, I won't say their names. So-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so aren't my friend anymore. Like, just like I called you a week and a half ago. All 3 of them, one of them basically gave me a very weird ultimatum about somebody I couldn't be friends with anymore. And I basically said to him, all right, so you're telling me that this person has no friends other than me. I'm their last remaining friend, and I can't be their friend anymore? And they're like, yeah, pretty much. And I go, all right, I can't do that. All right, so there they go. They went off on their way. One of them was a little bit older than me, and he's like, we do stupid stuff. I'm graduating college. I can't do the stupid stuff we do anymore. I'm going on my way. And I was like, but bro, the dream. I warned you about this. You told me everything was fine. And he goes his way. Like there was no talking to him. It was like literally like all of these people were in some sort of, I don't know. It was like they were possessed almost, like when I was talking to them. Not the first one, not the one that gave me the ultimatum, but the other 2. It was like they were like, just going through motions of like a script, and they weren't even good actors. And then, ironically, this is the best part. The third friend, the third drum of Seagulls, was dating the girl that introduced me to the Dream Book, and he thought I was going to beat him up. Yeah, actual story. Like he thought he just anytime I saw him, he'd go up against the wall. Everybody was always scared of Alexander because he was very tall and knew a lot of karate. Even though I was like a very gentle, very loving person, I was like, and I would tell him this. I was like, bro, I was like, I freaking love you. I was like, I up with her. I don't own her. Like, I'm not gonna beat you up over this. Like, I was like, let's just. I was like, remember the dream. Remember that. I was telling all of them, remember the dream. Like, I want to still be your best friend. Exactly, teen stuff. Thank you, Anna. But the moral of the story is my entire life was changed that day. My entire life was changed over the course of those days or on that day that I was like, hold on a second. I have a book that's telling me what's going to happen in my everyday life. And this was something that continued to happen and continued to happen and continued to happen. I should probably just get one epic story for each episode for now. That would probably be the best way to do this, because I could literally talk about this for hours, and I want to get into other people's dream states. But one of the last things I want to add before I start going through these emails is like and subscribe, first of all, because I have 30 people in here and I have 10 likes. So I love you guys. Thank you. But yeah, like and subscribe with the bell notification. But one of the things that I want to tell you guys is what we're seeing in our dream state. And I was saying this in my live broadcast the other day, so pardon me if you've already heard this, but I need to make sure that everybody on YouTube knows this as well. The things that we see in our dream time, never mind in our everyday life, because you can practice lucidity through your everyday life. But the things that you see, like say you see a skeleton that represents skeletons in the closet. Say you see a dinosaur represents a blast from the past. Say you see, a lot of people that need to go through some sort of release, no pun intended, or pun is intended, will have like dirty bathroom dreams. So if there's, say, if it's really dirty, then something's really, really clogged up consciously or in their lives, something that needs to be done. If there's actually just a lot of, and I'm not trying to be gross here, but if there's a lot of pee, that's basically, pissed off. So pardon my language. I'm just saying that your spirit team, your higher selves, your other dimensional versions, whatever your vernacular is, God, the original creator of your soul, nobody can explain this. All right. Like I don't care what branch of science it is. That's why I always love like that line from the Thor movie. And he's like, well, where I'm from, the things that you call science and the things that you call magic are both one. That's one of the things that for me has always been really, really epic for converting atheists. Not that that's my job, but when I love somebody and I really love somebody and they don't believe, it makes me happy to help them to believe, or at least give them something to believe in, or at least let them know that they don't know anything. And I'm not sitting here saying I know everything. I'm saying that whoever the person is, I doubt that anybody even knows 1% of what is to be known or what there is that could be known. If you believe more than that, then so be it. But, sometimes people have a little bit too much ego. But I just don't like when people put themselves in a box. And it's fine if I don't know them, but if it's somebody that I like, is a very close, near and dear loved one, to give them the ability to believe is very important to me. So yeah, that's what I was getting at is, for starters, because there's this overwhelming thing here with these dreams that were emailed to me, and not overwhelming, synchronistic. I don't know what the word would be. A thing that keeps reoccurring. There's a synchronicity, I guess, or it doesn't matter. But anyways, a lot of times people are having dreams that aren't bad and they think they're bad. So that'll be one last thing I mention. There was a guy I met when I was here in Sedona, And I talked to him, and that was like a life-changing experience. And I actually got to meet Bob Bear, the Hopi shaman, before he passed away, and he set me up with that. And that was like a whole miraculous thing. Like he's like, let's just go by there and see if they'll let us in, because this was literally like a gated, like you're not supposed to go in there. And like we dressed up as firefighters. It was the weirdest thing ever, dude. I'm telling you. We literally like dressed up as firefighters, because he had Sydney, Australia firefighter shirts. And I seriously think there was some magic going on. And I think it said Sedona, because we were in Sedona, and I got Sydney firefighter shirts on, and we were just very like, oh, we gotta get in there. We're going in there, and they're like, okay, you guys go right in. So, anyways, we go in there, and we're like, we have no idea. We had no schedule. This is like, like the internet was a thing, but it wasn't on your cell phone really back then. And we go up to the desk, and we're like, we were hoping to meet up with Bob Bear. And they're like, that's weird. He's doing a class in about 40 minutes. And he does this class like twice a month or something. And I was like, wow, like this was destined. And I wasn't even supposed to be there that day. It was this big epic thing. But anyways, so many stories. So sorry, guys. Anyways, so this guy calls me, and he's freaking out, and he has this dream, and he goes, I had a dream. I got back to my house, because he was just driving around. He was like doing like a drive about, and that's how he ended up in Sedona. And I ended up talking to him because he had an Eckhart Tolle book, and I was like, good book. And he was like literally like just starting his awakening journey. So he was kind of freaked out because his house was entirely filled with snakes. He goes, I open up the door and snakes come out of the door. And there's every door I open, it's filled with snakes. And it's like the Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, bro. He goes, what's going on? He's like, I'm freaking out. He goes, I got to go back to my house tomorrow. And I tell him, because this is literally, I'm like years deep. This is like 11, 10, 12 years at least of dream state interpretation. At this point, I was beyond adept. And I tell him this is a very good thing. Snakes actually represent spirituality, like especially if you see like the figure eight, that's like the Ouroboros, or like the snake with the tail in his mouth. Um, I go, this is basically saying you're going back home, and there's spirituality there. There's a lot of spirituality. Like every single one of those snakes is a download. It's something epic. It's something awesome that's going to happen for you. And, because this reminded me, and I even explained to him, which I'll explain to you guys now, with this book. So I had this 10,000 Dreams Interpreted, and this is probably back in about 2003, 2005. I'm like in this attic, like, you're in like the crawl space, and like, I'm like stuck. I can't find the door. I'm lost. And everywhere I walk, there's like, I'm walking through spider webs, and I wake up, and I never got out of there. It was like 3 webs. I kept like freaking out. Like there were spiders all over me. I'm walking through the webs. I wake up, my heart's going boom, 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 boom. I'm like, I had a nightmare. Okay. I look it up in the book, and it says to walk into a spider web represents unexpected money. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, now I feel better. Okay, because now I know a spider web isn't a bad thing. So even though like I woke up thinking I had a nightmare, I look it up in the book, and it says unexpected money. So I'm like, whatever, mez, we'll see what happens. Literally get a check for like $950 from an old employer. And they were like, we were paying you wrong over like the course of like a year and a half. Here's $1,000. Like when that was like that's still a lot of money now, but like back then that was like, what just happened? Like I just get $1,000 show up to me in the mail. So instantly my relationship with spiders, my relationship with spider webs had completely shifted. And mind you, that's something that actually works in physical reality. And this is what I'm getting at, is the lucidity of your dream state and the lucidity of your waking reality. Spirit is constantly trying to communicate with you. So if you pay attention to what is taking place in your physical reality, what license plates you're seeing, what you just wake up and there's a truck parked in front of your house, and there's like some sort of message written on the truck. Like this has happened many a times, whether I'm in a soul retrieval session or it's information that's for me, or One time I was even mad, and there's a truck outside that says Alexander's Cooling. Like it was like they were like, and I've never seen this truck again in Sedona. And there was literally a truck that said that they did like air conditioner repairs, and it said Alexander's Cooling. And I was like sitting outside angry, and I was just like, how am I supposed to be angry now? Like, you guys are hilarious. Like, Spirit is actually hilarious if they're not wasting all of their energy to give you the same message that you're not receiving, if that makes sense. So, anyways, moving on, because I got to get to these dreams. But what was that whole tangent about? Let's bring it home with the tangent. You might be having a dream that you think was a bad dream, and it was actually very, very positive. That's what I'm getting at. Okay. So I actually attempted to pick the one. I won't give her last name, but I'm going to say this is for Denise. Okay. I ended up picking the one that was the closest one that could be considered something that could be challenging, even though it's not. So I wanted to definitely touch base with this one. So she says, "Hi, Alexander. I had a dream recently that startled me after reading the interpretation. I dreamt I was on an island and a hurricane was coming. When we went down inside an underground storm shelter. When the storm came through, the place shook a tad and lights flickered. That was it. I'm not sure if this means anything, but we were all watching on radar. Also, I was with strangers." So she's saying, when I looked it up, it seemed really scary, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so a storm. A storm can represent anything that's about to happen. All right. So the storm does not necessarily mean it's a bad thing. The storm is representing a potential thing that can happen that you can avoid. How can you avoid? You can avoid it from going in this underground bunker, from this storm shelter, which is underground. And this is basically representing your subconscious mind. So Spirit is giving you a message, okay, that there was a potential storm coming. So I'm hoping that, because usually it happens within 3 days. So you'll have a dream, and it's usually within 3 days that this stuff takes place. So maybe you were supposed to avoid going out. Maybe there was people that you were supposed to avoid on those days. I know that there was a couple of days over the past few weeks that things were so energetically crazy that Spirit wanted me to stay home. So I did that. But basically, this is showing your intuition. You're watching it on radar. You're watching the storm. Like, this is like, what you have, like a Doppler, like radar system. Like, that's some expensive technology. And this is like basically saying that Spirit's showing you that you have this technology to tell you to avoid storms, avoid the storm, and go in your subconscious mind. So, Sister Denise, this is a very positive thing. All right. So you sent this to me on the 3rd of November. So depending on when you had this dream, okay, what I would like you to do is to look at what took place it's usually 3 for me, but 1 to 5 days after that. Was there a storm that you left your underground bunker and had to deal with this storm? Or was there something that, someone was trying to come in, or somebody wanted to stay at your house, or somebody wanted you to come deal with something, and you avoided the storm? So this is really your work to do here, sister. But what I'll tell you is, this is not a bad dream. You were telling me it was a bad dream. It's not whatsoever. So I'm going to move along here. I actually want to see, I saw a couple questions popping up. How do I do this without covering the screen? What if the spider or snakes bite in a dream state? I'd say a snake can be challenging. That's actually showing maybe somebody malevolent. I would take that as a warning. A spider bite would probably still just mean money. How funny. Your 13-year-old wants to become a firefighter in Sydney. Yeah, I don't even know how he had those t-shirts. Okay. See, look what you just said, Tanya. Mine are scared. Okay, so what do you do? You're sitting here. You're sitting here with all these powerful people that are in this video, and you're stating a fact, because it's a fact now, that everybody's co-creating with you that your dreams are scary. Okay. So, this is what I tell you guys all the time in the weekly readings, or at least when they were weekly, when I was allowed, when I had access. Um, even if something is the case, you have to at least put it in the state of dissolving or transmutation. Okay. So, by saying that, yours are always this way, all these people read it. And now everybody's going to co create. What up, Johnny? The man, the myth, the legend. Um, Everybody here is going to co create that your dream state's terrible. Okay. That's why I'm sitting here. I'm sitting here to tell you that you might be having bad dreams. That was that whole explanation earlier. You might be having bad dreams that aren't bad whatsoever. Like my friend with the snakes, and then me with the spider webs, and then many other hundreds and hundreds of dreams that I've recorded that I wake up and I'm like cool as a cucumber because I'm like, all right, well, I'm not going to react until I see what this dream means. I've had the most positive, most beautiful, most epic dreams ever, and they're warning me of shenanigans that are about to happen. You might be having your best dreams and just going la da 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 da, not researching them, not looking them up. And those are actually the ones that are like, yo, brother, sister, dodge this, or go over here, or do this instead. So I still got a couple to read through over here. But basically, one of these was this is like a whole spiel. Ginger, are you in here, sister? Okay. This one's from my sister, Ginger. Is this the one? All right. She actually has two in here. She's saying she loves the synchronicity of what I'm doing. Yada, yada, yada. Let me see. Where does this start? This is a long one. When you guys send me these, if you could keep them less is more. I can always email you back and be like, can you explain more? Anyways, let me start. I'm going to start right from here. All right. With that being said, all right, here we go. With that being said, this dream I had, it felt like I was looking at myself in a child's form with blonde hair. I was laying on a stone block, like in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe movie. My neck was tied down with a rope, wrists and ankles also tied down. Blonde hair girl around the age of 7 wearing a white robe. Standing around her, white and black robed people. When I looked to see who was standing around her, there were children, male and female, roughly around the same age. The blonde haired child on the stone block looked completely calm and fearless and serene. The blonde-haired child on the stone block looked completely calm and fearless and serene, and it looked like she was ready to be sacrificed. Now, that's a very important line, so I'm going to go back to that. Looking on from a third-party view, this was very jarring to me, and I couldn't look anymore. And I don't read this terribly. Like, I love you, Ginger, but like a lot of these words, like I don't know if this was talk to text, so I'm like doing my best to actually transcribe what this says. So I can read better than how I'm reading live for you guys right now, mind you. Some of the words are not the words she meant to say, so I'm like fixing them in my mind as I go. Looking anymore, so I looked away and I turned back to see, and then I saw that same child that was bound, now unbound, standing at the top of some stone stairs, and behind her was a very large stone obelisk. She was still wearing the right robe, I'm sure you meant white, the white robe, and she looked up and a beam of gold and light came down and cased her, and she had a smile, and she looked up and was complete bliss and joy. Then I saw her physical body turn into gold. Then, that's not what you meant to say. Basically, her body turned to gold, fell down the stairs, and broke into at least 3 large pieces. Then, as the third-person observer, I wondered where she went, why the body turned to gold. Where did that beam of golden light come from? Then I awoke from that dream. Okay? So you were feeling bound. You saw her bound. All of a sudden, she wasn't bound, and she's upstairs, representing consciousness, representing being in a higher state or a higher dimensional aspect. You see her actually have light affect her body, turn her to gold, and she breaks to pieces. Okay, so this is like literally like saying, like the worm going into the cocoon and the butterfly emerges. This is actually showing an ascension process in ways that you can see it. You guys might be in an airport, you might be on an airplane, you might be in certain places. But like when I go and I like actually like research people's dreams and research my dreams, this is actually talking about going from one planet to another or one place to another. You might be looking at higher selves or other dimensional versions or spirit guides, but all that's available to your cerebral cortex, all that's available to your brain is already imagery that you've already seen in this life. So you might be actually on a spaceship going from one planet to another planet or one solar system to another solar system. And this is represented through, I'm at an airport. I got on the plane. I got off the plane. All right. No, sometimes this stuff is very much so more advanced. So what you're seeing is actually this ascension process. You're seeing that these children are safe. And this is why I really wanted to pick this one, because there was this overwhelming, I don't want to say coincidence. There was this synchronicity with numerous people, numerous of you guys, and all of us. We're all dealing with this. Like, what's going on with the children? Like, we got to protect the children. Like, the protection of innocence. Or like, what's going on with like all these naughty people? That's not what we're here to talk about. What I'm telling you, all right? Because we don't want to get YouTube shut down too, right? Anyways, this is basically something that the whole collective of us's is worried about, all right? And this is telling you shouldn't worry. It's all taken care of from an outside source. So you're on this level. She's up the stairs. And then light comes down from another place and actually turns her to gold. So she actually transcends the reality. Her energy is obviously freed from that encasing when the gold breaks open. So I really wanted to touch base on this one because there was a lot of stuff about children and what's going on with kids and what's going on here or there. The one thing we definitely need to do is like, just as I was telling the sister earlier, like if we keep saying this is what's going on, we have to put a spell into place that exactly, it's a cool dream, Angela, but like it's like part of her, like when I'm reading this, it almost seems like, oh, this is kind of freaky. And it's not freaky whatsoever. It's talking about duality. There's people wearing white, there's people wearing black. There's golden light actually saving these children. So this is something that we have to put in a state of dissolving or transmutation, however it is in this way, if it shouldn't be in that way. And obviously it shouldn't. Like, we want the children to be protected. We want everything to be copacetic in that manner. So putting things into the proper state instead of saying how they are. And I know a lot of that can be like, oh, that's spiritual bypassing, Alexander. But no, it's not. It's magic, okay? Magic is, with a K at the end, is real magic. These are spells. You were taught how to spell. Our words are spells. This is like, Thoth, Hermes, all the real magicians are writers, okay? Why are they writers? Because the words that are in the grammar, the grimoire, the magical book, they need to be spoken in the proper manner. And this has been something that I've been trying to find the messed up spells. There are just plenty of words that are just entirely missing from our language or they were taken out. But this is the work that we're doing here together. All right, guys, this is like also another like fraction of the work, which is very, very important to me, is the etymology and the actual spelling of the words. This is something that is very, very obvious. It's very, very obvious. But what am I getting at here, Sister Ginger? I'm getting at this is a very, very positive dream. And it's basically showing us that these kids are going to be taken care of. These kids are being looked after by spirit. And as you were looking at yourself as like we're all one, so you were putting yourself in the form of a child with them, because this is obviously something that's been bothering your subconscious mind. So your subconscious mind's thinking about it. So the original creator of your soul, God, higher selves, whatever your vernacular is, spirit is showing you that these children are going to be taken care of, okay? Whoever these people are, whether it's the people in the white robes or the black robes, just looking at it with duality and knowing the one is in the all. That's one thing all the religions, all the dogmas agree with. Looking at it in that facet of reality, everything's going to be taken care of. Okay? She actually added another dream. I'm just going to sum this up for you here, Ginger. Basically, she's in a bazaar and there's all these like beautiful owls and they're all different colors. That's plain and simple, Ginger. That's you not being happy about what you're doing for your physical abundance, and that's showing you that however many owls there were, that's your upper dimensional wisdom, so to speak. Your guides are speaking to you and letting you know that there's that many other jobs, there's that many other ways that you can be bringing in abundance. So I just wanted to, I'm not going to go over that whole dream. Um, because I already gave you one. So you basically got two. So lucky you, Ginger. But I really wanted to make sure that I got to that one because your dream was really awesome and it was really epic. And I wanted to touch base on it. All right, this one seems a little bit challenging. Who is this? I hope you guys don't mind if I'm saying your names. Sister Rita, okay? All right. I always dreamed a lot, but when I went to college, dreams started to get more aggressive in a way that I would want to many times during the night from, see, once again, there's a weird typo there. Many different dreams and wake up. I was being beaten all night, heavy head, super exhausted, worse than when I dreamed about my day-to-day life. And sometimes I would not be able to distinguish what actually happened and what I have dreamed. I was going crazy, as my colleagues would say, that we didn't go to that place. Another typo. We didn't go to that party. So I had a friend that told me to smoke a joint before sleep. So I started doing it and I didn't dream for almost 10 years. By the beginning of this year, I moved back to my hometown and also decided I wanted to quit smoking. Aside from being a band-aid, not to deal with my dreams, had become a way to escape reality and not to deal with other stuff too. It was an addiction. I'm going to get to the dream in a second. You needed the backstory. All right, hold on. I need coffee. This is a lot of talking. Okay, let's get the mug out of the shot. Sorry, that was probably really loud. When I started dreaming again, I recall a very vivid dream was being inside this place that looked like a cathedral that was very tall and had interior balconies. I was on the ground level and it had big windows that brought a lot of light to the inside. I was completely surrounded by beings, human-like. They wore very white and had black eyes. They didn't touch me. There was this space around me. They were just looking and I was not afraid. I felt they were kind of astonished by my presence there. I walked a bit. They made a way for me, never touching me. And when I looked up, there were thousands of them looking at me from the balconies. And on the ceiling of the building, there was light too. Okay. This is once again duality. We have white clothes, we have black eyes. We're having this like endless void of space, okay, literally in their eyes, like almost like the watchers, like these watchers watching. So this is spirit telling you how important it is for you to get in touch with your dream state, how important it is for you to stop, smoking the ganj for you. There are certain people, it can be beneficial to occasionally smoke. There are certain people that can smoke and they can dream. There are certain people that if they smoke, they will not dream whatsoever. You are in that bracket, okay? You're in that bracket where this is really going to affect your dream state and you can predict the future. You can know what's going to happen. Like this is literally telling you, brought a lot of light into the inside. Light is representing illumination. Light is representing knowledge. Light is representing, that force, that power, that energy that, most of us here, I would say 99.99% are looking for, okay? You're completely surrounded by beings that wore white, okay? So this is showing you the duality of, obviously if their eyes are black, they could be entirely, the void inside, but you're seeing them wearing white with black eyes, representing once again this duality, this yin and this yang and this balance. And they're just watching you. This is showing you, yeah, Owen, I agree with you completely. Yeah, that was something that definitely spirit communicated with me. We were all, young kids once. When I was just starting my dream state interpretation, I remember I was looking for, a certain apparatus, I'll call it. I was looking for an apparatus that was a friend's. It was a friend of mine's. Okay. He's saying as much as he can without saying as much as he can. And I basically, like, it was like every apparatus that I'd ever used was inside of a trash bag and was smashed to bits. And I woke up, I looked up the dream, and it was like inside this epic place. And I was like, Spirit doesn't want me to smoke like pretty much ever again. Like, Spirit doesn't want me to smoke anymore. And that was it for literally years. That was it for years. Once Spirit told me, you're going to be able to remember more dreams. You're going to be able to predict more future realities by cutting this out. I was like, well, that's gone, because you can get to a state in your dream state that is higher than any high you can achieve anywhere else. Mark my words. When think back to when you were a little kid and you had that dream that you were flying around, okay? You have that flying dream, you have that epic dream, you have that awesome dream. You wake up and you're like an immovable object and an unstoppable force all in one for days. For days. When you finally, you're practicing going lucid, and you finally go lucid. You're practicing, flying. You want to fly, because that's the funniest thing. When you do these lucidity checks, so you got to start doing lucidity checks in your physical everyday life. When you do these lucidity checks, your attempt is to do these when things don't make sense in your dream. So say the walls in the room are normally white, and it's something as simple as the walls are pink, and you're like, we never painted this room pink. So you do a lucidity check. You're like, well, how would the room all of a sudden just change color? And sometimes you'll have the weirdest stuff happen, or at least I will. Sometimes I'll have the weirdest stuff happen. I'm like, yo, bro, like, how did you not go lucid? There was like a 30-foot clown or something weird. And then it'll be like the simplest thing. I'll be like, I didn't leave this here. This was here. I'm in a dream. I'll go lucid. So that I can't explain. I think it's how much sleep you needed, or how what dimensional place you're actually in. But what I'll tell you is this: my first 5-6 years at least of working with lucidity, I would always have these ideas of, okay, I'm going to call in my higher self. I'm going to go check this out. I want to go back to a past lifetime. I want to ask these questions. And I'd be like, all right, I'm lucid. Okay, now I fly. And then you fly. Like, it's like we all want to fly, or at least most of us do. And if you don't, there might be some sort of fear there that you could take a look at. Thank you, Tasha. Anyways, basically, when you start doing these lucidity checks, and there's many different ones that I have to do, okay? So one of my friends taught me this one. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you actually have to tap each finger. This is very difficult to do in your dream state. I have many I do, okay? Because, people tell you, oh, put your finger, and if you can push it through your hand. None of that works for me. Spirit keeps upping the ante to the point where I and many of you can actually now feel pain during our dream states. Because this is what I would do for a while here. Do not pinch this very hard, okay? There is a pressure point right there in your hand. And if you, at your own risk, I'm telling you not to do this. If you gently pinch it, it really freaking hurts. So my lucidity was so important to me. When something odd would happen, like back in my the state I grew up in. You see what I did there? Because this is my home state now. Anyways, the state I grew up in, there's this guy, and he would like literally dress up as like Superman or Captain America. I can't remember, but he had like an exercise bike on the roof of his car. So like there was literally an exercise bike that was red, white, and blue, and he would go by the beach and like do like an exercise bike like in a muscle suit. So like whenever you see something really freaking weird, like that's when you do your lucidity check. So whenever I saw this guy's car, I saw him doing this weird stuff. I'd pinch my hand. I'd put my tongue in between my back teeth. I'd bite on my tongue a little bit. Like I would have all these checks because every single time it worked and I went lucid, like spirit would up the ante once again, and like I'd feel the pain and I'd be able to do this thing. And certain things would keep happening because I guess our own consciousness or actual other dimensional versions or spirit wants us to get the message of the dream. So they try to keep us, because trust me, there's been plenty of times where I started to fly or I started to do something, and I go and I look at someone, I look at a loved one in my dream, and I'm like, because I always try to jailbreak everybody. It doesn't matter how long dream state goes. Once I realize I'm lucid, I try to like grab everybody. I'm like, yo, bro, we're dreaming, man. Let's get out of here. We can fly. So I go up to like my sister in one of the dreams. I'm like, I'm like, yo, I go, this isn't real. This is a dream. I go, there's grandpa. Grandpa died. Grandpa's not even alive anymore. Like, he doesn't belong here. And then she's like, no, this is real. This is not a dream. And I'm like, but we're in Germany and it's 1943. Like it's definitely a dream. And then always, like all my loved ones, everybody I'm trying to jailbreak, they're all just very like, this is not a dream. So you might have that happen as well at home, guys, or wherever you're sleeping. So basically what I'm getting at here is, and there'll be more of this to come. Like, as you can see, there's a wealth of knowledge here. Whether you just started waking up or whether you've been basically doing this work for 20 years like myself, I'm sure there's something that we can teach each other about dream state and mastering this stuff. The moral of the story is you have the ability to predict your future. You have the ability to, by having the right belief structure, allow your spirit team, God, the original creator of your soul, I'm not really sure, but that energy can give you a message when you're ready for it, so you can prepare for what's about to happen. And you can avoid things, and you can call things in, and you can know where you're supposed to be, where you're not supposed to be, and then also not be so traumatized by these things. Thinking back to the dream with the drums of the dead seagulls, how difficult would that have been for 20-year-old Alexander to go through all of that without a warning, without already calling these friends that his intuition, every single friend I called, I was absolutely right about. Like, because I was like, these are the people I consider my best friends. So I called all 4 of them, and then 3 of them weren't my friends anymore. So it wasn't like I was off with one of them. Every single person I called, I only called those 4 people. That was it. So that might have been really challenging and really difficult for me without the warning. So this is what I'm getting at is, you might have a dream that seems really challenging, but to have the ability to look it up and predict the future, to know what spirit's trying to tell you or what you're trying to tell yourself, this is going to give you I don't know, it's just life. And life can be much better than some are enjoying it. And I love you guys so much. That's why this is a very passionate subject. And thank you to the sister Chelsea. Forgive me if I'm saying your name wrong. She was actually the one that suggested this. And then right after you suggested, a bunch of people. So thank you to everybody that, pushed me to do this, thank you, Johnny, that pushed me to do this thing that I've been passionate about for years. Like I was saying, I could show you a very, very old email of my original business card draft, which was going to be called the Lucid Cupid. So that's the name of the show. And I'm going to be doing a lot more of these. So at a minimum, there's going to be one of these a month. It should be, sometime in between the monthly tarot, beginning of the month, and then the romance spreads. So there will be, it's probably not in the comments now because I just posted this, but once this all buffers, we take a look at this. I'm going to put into the comments how you guys can send in your emails. There are a lot of them. There were a lot of them just from one little Instagram post. And I picked these few because that's what Spirit told me. Spirit said, do 3. So yeah, that's it. That's my goal, is you guys to be able to waken up to lucidity in your daily lives, waking up to lucidity in your dreams, and just be the unstoppable forces and immovable objects that you are. Please please subscribe, please share it out. I love you guys so much. I will see you very, very soon. Thank you. Thank you for watching. You guys are awesome. Love you. Bye.